For many years, Finland was seen as a shining example of a successful Nordic country, admired for its stability, high quality of life, and strong sense of community. The nation managed to balance a thriving economy with generous social support systems, ensuring that most citizens felt secure and cared for. But in recent years, major global events, especially Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, forced Finland to reconsider its identity, its alliances, and how it could best protect its people in a rapidly changing world. In a historic move, Finland ended decades of military neutrality and officially joined NATO in April 2023, marking a dramatic shift in its foreign policy. This decision signaled a clear alignment with Western countries and a commitment to collective security, fundamentally changing Finland's place in the world. At the same time, Finland experienced a major political shift at home. The 2023 elections brought in the most conservative government the country has seen in decades, reflecting a new mood among voters. This new government, led by the National Coalition Party and the more extreme Finns Party, has pushed for media group, Finnish government press conference, politicians in debate, protest signs about government reforms, stock and distribute equally, cutting public spending, changing labor laws, and introducing stricter immigration rules, policies that have sparked heated debate. These moves represent a sharp break from Finland's long tradition of progressive policies and inclusive social values. As a result, the country has seen widespread protests, with many Finns taking to the streets to voice their concerns. These changes have deepened divisions within Finnish society, challenging the image of Finland as a united and harmonious Nordic nation. Now, as Finland adapts to its new security role and faces domestic challenges, it must grapple with difficult questions about its identity, values, and the direction it wants to take. The country truly stands at a turning point, with its future hanging in the balance. The decisions Finland makes today will not only shape its own destiny, but could also offer important lessons for other nations facing similar crossroads. This is the story of a nation redefining itself in a time of uncertainty, and the world is watching to see what path Finland will choose. The 2024 presidential election marked a historic moment for Finland, as it was the nation's first since officially joining NATO. This election was more than just a political event. It was a turning point that reflected the country's evolving identity and its place on the world stage. The atmosphere across Finland was charged with anticipation, as citizens realized they were voting not just for a leader, but for the direction of their country's future in a rapidly changing Europe. With longtime President Sauli Niinisto stepping down, voters faced a significant choice between two experienced candidates who both supported closer ties with Western countries, Alexander Stubb and Pekka Haavisto. Stubb, a former prime minister and a strong advocate for NATO, campaigned on a platform of resilience. He promised to stand firm against Russian aggression and to fully embrace Finland's new responsibilities in European security. Haavisto, who played a key role in Finland's NATO application, offered a more diplomatic vision. He emphasized dialogue, cooperation, and finding common ground with both allies and neighbors, aiming to balance security with diplomacy. The final vote was close, reflecting a nation carefully weighing its options. In the end, Stubb's victory confirmed Finland's commitment to the Western alliance and a strong, proactive defense posture. His presidency signals a clear break from the past, with Finland now deeply integrated into the transatlantic security system and forging new partnerships. Stubb's leadership will shape how Finland manages its new responsibilities, navigates international challenges, and presents itself to the world as a reliable partner. The country's foreign policy is now defined by its NATO membership and the ongoing threat from Russia, requiring careful strategy and unity. As Finland enters this new era, it faces both promising opportunities and significant risks, with its people looking ahead to an uncertain but hopeful future. While foreign policy dominated the headlines during the presidential race, with candidates debating Finland's place in a changing world, the real transformation was already underway at home. Finland's domestic politics had shifted dramatically, setting the stage for a new era. The 2023 parliamentary elections marked the end of Sanna Marin's center-left government. In its place, a right-wing coalition led by Petteri Orpo and the National Coalition Party took power, with the Finns Party as a key partner. This was a significant change in direction for the country. Their agenda was bold: major spending cuts, sweeping changes to the job market, and much stricter immigration rules. This approach was a sharp break from the traditional Nordic model, which has long emphasized social safety nets and openness. Welfare benefits were slashed, protections for workers were rolled back, and the right to strike was restricted, all justified as necessary steps to balance the budget and ensure economic stability. Critics, including unions and social activists, warn that these changes threaten the fairness and equality that Finnish society is known for. They argue that the reforms could undermine the very foundations of the country's social contract. The inclusion of the more extreme Finns party in government has heightened anxieties, especially around issues of immigration, diversity, and the treatment of minorities. Many worry about the impact on Finland's reputation as an open and tolerant society. In response, Finland has seen some of the largest strikes and protests in recent memory, as unions, workers, and ordinary citizens take to the streets to voice their opposition and demand a different path. Today, Finnish politics are defined by deep divisions and passionate debate, as the country wrestles with questions about its future direction and the values it wants to uphold. The government's cuts have hit regular Finns hard, especially those who are most in need. Cuts to unemployment, housing, and student benefits have made it difficult for many to get by, with more young people without homes and more people not having enough food. The public healthcare system has longer waiting times, adding to worries in a country with many older people. Immigration rules have become much stricter. Getting citizenship now takes 8 years, and it's harder to get asylum. Critics say these policies make it harder for people to fit in and hurt Finland's reputation for being open. Meanwhile, rising prices and living costs have created a crisis where things are too expensive, making the impact of welfare cuts even worse. The result: a growing feeling of not being safe and a challenge to Finland's tradition of social equality. Joining NATO has changed Finland's defense plan and industry almost immediately. No longer neutral, Finland is now a frontline NATO country, sharing a long border with Russia and spending more money on its military. Defense exports have gone up a lot, with record sales to other European countries, especially Sweden, Latvia, and Norway. The government has also given a lot of military help to Ukraine, showing its commitment to European security. Almost all defense exports now go to NATO partners, strengthening strategic ties and making it easier for them to work together. Finland's defense industry is doing very well, making the country a key provider of security in Northern Europe. The country is no longer just using security, but actively making and selling it. This is a big change from Finland's many years of neutrality to a central role in the Western alliance. The government's big changes have caused a strong negative reaction. Strikes and protests have spread across the country, led by trade unions defending workers' rights and the social welfare system. The government's popularity has dropped a lot, especially for the Finns Party, while the Social Democrats and Left Alliance are gaining support. Surveys show growing support for the opposition, reflecting widespread worry about spending cuts and social cuts. The Social Democrats, led by Antti Lindtman, have presented themselves as protectors of the welfare state. The Left Alliance, energized by new leadership, is gathering public anger against the cuts. The political situation is unstable, with the government facing increasing opposition both in parliament and on the streets. Finland's social unity is under stress as the country debates its future direction. Finland is at a very important moment, torn between two ideas for its future. On one side, the government wants a smaller, more market-driven state, focusing on being competitive rather than the traditional welfare system. On the other, a re-energized opposition and strong unions are fighting to keep social equality and public services. The outcome will decide whether Finland remains a shining example of the Nordic way or takes a new, more unequal path. The next election could undo the current government's changes or make them permanent for a generation. Finland's choices will have effects far beyond its borders, offering lessons for other countries facing similar pressures. The world is watching as Finland tries to balance market forces and social togetherness. Its future is not yet written, and its struggle is a good example for our times.